what's going on, guys? How are you doing today? What I have for you today in this video is I'm going to talk to you guys about a recent program Google has announced, which is supposed to be an Android phone recommendation program. It's called the Android Enterprise Recommended. Now, this program is more targeted to the businesses versus the individual consumers or customers themselves, but they can also count the businesses as a consumer in general. The purpose of this program is to provide the businesses on what's the best phone that they should purchase or look into getting for their company. Of course, being just an ordinary individual that is not involved with a business, basically they just want a new phone for themselves. Obviously, you got a variety of picks, and for a business that could be a little bit tough, especially for the Android devices out there, because not every manufacturer can keep up with the latest software updates that are being distributed out there. For a start, the main devices that are going to be part of this program, I guess you would call it, is obviously the Google Pixel devices, plus the BlackBerry device that has the Android operating system on it, so on and so forth. And I'm pretty sure the list is going to keep going. Now, what's the purpose of this kind of program if this is more targeted on the enterprise side of things? Well, in regards to the enterprise environment, there are specific companies out there that do distribute cell phones for their employees, so in case that they need to do some traveling, but they don't want the employees to use their personal phones for work-related activities, then the companies buy these smartphones and then they issue them out to an individual employee and then basically say, okay, here's a phone from us. This is what you use to communicate us with. And that's pretty much it. The enterprise environment, it doesn't just count for one particular category. This is for like all businesses in general, especially I would say for companies that are extremely large with multiple offices around the world. So for companies like that, from what it seems like, according to an article that I read about this, and the link to that will be in the description below, it seems like the best picks for an operating system within an enterprise environment is iOS, macOS, and then Windows 10, or I guess just Windows in general. Looks like Google wants to be part of that as well by having Android in there. The unfortunate part of Android is that it's an open source platform that is not very secure compared to another open source platform that is Linux. I believe that Linux has a more difficult method to crack or to breach versus Android. While Android being an open source platform, that just gives the manufacturers too many opportunities to do whatever they want with the operating system, and sometimes it could either make it better or it could make it worse and break the system itself. So because that Android as a whole, manufacturers have a hard time keeping up with the updates, it's just not convenient, kind of like Windows, for example, except Windows, I would say, is pretty moderate in that they're almost on par if you were to count every manufacturer together. Obviously, some have their own quirks and issues, but Android, it looks like a lot of companies just don't really trust it. And I guess that's why Google is putting out this program to recommend the best devices for that particular enterprise environment. And worst case scenario, they're obviously going to recommend their Pixel devices because those are the ones that are strictly for Google's flavor of Android, which is how everyone, or how they would like everyone to be using Android, versus getting a Samsung Note 8 and then you have Samsung's TouchWiz Android skin on there. I'm pretty sure that Google would have liked their flavor on that particular phone. So basically, Google wants the enterprise businesses to use Android as how they want their customers to use it initially for a better experience. And this program might help. Is it a good idea? Well, you be the judge, because this is not something that is not really related to just the individual self. This is more on the business side of things, because obviously businesses gotta have smartphones too for their employees. If they need the employee to have a cell phone for a specific reason but don't want their personal devices to be used, because using personal devices that is not owned by a company can lead to issues, especially with encryption, security. Companies want to try to make their data mobile, but to make it secure at the same time. And of course, what better way to not do it than to buy some equipment and say, this is owned by the company, don't lose it. You lose it, you pay for it, and then have to go through the process of making sure all the data is secured. This is basically Google's method of trying to enter this market to maybe compete with iOS and the other operating systems out there. So that way companies can have a pick on which one they want to use, because Most of the time I've seen companies that have company phones, 9 out of 10 times I see iPhones, and sometimes maybe Android, but most of the time I see iPhones, and that's about it. What do you guys think? Do you guys think that Google is on the right track to get their Android devices recognized for an enterprise tool? I'd like to see what you guys have to say in the comments down below. Thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe, rate, comment. Also check out the description below for my social media links, Twitter and Instagram. See you in the next one. Take care, everybody.